Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, everybody. Let's see, is it showing? No, it is not showing right at this moment in time. Okay, let's go ahead and fix that real quick. Why are you not showing the web page? Give it to me. There we go. Okay. Welcome back to another Terraria coding session. We're going to continue on our study for the working on the Terraria mods. You know, as I mentioned in previous streams, previous videos, um, I have an idea for Terraria mod, so I'm going to be continuing to work on that. But first, I need to understand a little bit more about, what gets put into that. So, um, we've already covered up to, let's see, where was it again? I think we got up to about mod projectile, if I remember correctly. So the next portion is kind of probably going to be looking at the recipe. Probably. Although, yeah, I don't know if I really need anything here either for my purposes of the mod that I'm planning on making. So probably going to have to hold off on that for right now. Um, so yeah, okay. Um, so we're going to be doing about an hour's worth of this. I need to change up the mods that are currently set up on Terraria right at the moment. There we go. Much better. All right. Um, hate to admit this, but I never played Terraria before. Heard of it, but never had a chance to play it. It's okay there, Goose. I just thought about it because, well, okay, my friend Blackheart and I, we've been playing Terraria for a while now. And we are currently going through a mod called Calamity on in Terraria. And if you know anything about the game, it's typically regarded as a 2D Minecraft, but there's a lot more that has gone into, well, I say more, but um, obviously there are two separate paths, right? You have the, Minecraft and its modding community and its development and so on and so forth. And now you have, Terraria and its modding community and everything that it's done, right? So, um, now, uh, while, you know, um, Calamity, I heard about the mod. They say it's almost impossible to beat or something. I'm pretty sure that if they wanted to, they could probably make Calamity like, yeah, pretty much impossible. Because as you ramp up the damage, as you ramp up the boss difficulty and stuff like that, it might actually turn into a literal bullet hell style gameplay where one hit and you're dead. Um, and obviously that can be a bit problematic if you're if you're playing, if you're playing any kind of game, right? So, um, you know, but the idea that I had was, there's the ability of, you know, for anybody that knows Terraria, you can use what you call materials to take that and make something new from it. Okay. So basically, you take like, iron ore, you make the, iron ore is a material that you can then make, use it to make the iron bars, when you can then make the iron bars into, something else, like a pickaxe, a sword, or so on and so forth, right? Well, um, in the last Calamity playthrough that I did, um, that unfortunately got corrupted and lost. It got to a point where there were so many different recipes being done, um, in the Calamity mod, so many different melee weapons, ranged weapons, summoner weapons, mage weapons, and so on and so forth, that I didn't know what I had made prior and what was done, what I did and have not made, what weapons were used to build the weapons that I currently had in my hand. Like there was a ton. There's a ton of weapons, right? But they didn't really have anything there for me to really understand what the what line I could use to get to where I was, right? So so I was thinking to myself, how about I make myself a little bit of a tech tree, you know, showing the progress from, the basics of basics with just a simple ore all the way to building, some of the most advanced weapons in the Calamity game. Well, that's probably going to be easier said than done. Um, I know that, you know, and trying to make it dynamic enough to be able to handle not only vanilla but additional modding, that might get to be quite a undertaking. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm not expecting it to be super easy, but you never know. We'll see. Um, let's see. I've been trying to find every decryption process and what cipher had been used by the Zodiac Killer letters in Cicada 3301. Although Cicada 3301's last puzzle had multiple layers of encryption, same as Zodiac's. Well, I'm sure. Um, Now, I haven't gone myself into the ciphers or decryptions or anything along those lines, so your guess is as good as mine on along those lines. Um, but yeah, I mean, you know, if if you're finding it fun, my friend, have at it. Enjoy to your heart's content. Um, but I mean, some people, um, uh, I mean, the fact that you have literal, you know, in some cases, man-made code breakers out there try to figure out, code, decryption and ciphers and stuff like that. It can be quite an undertaking, that's for sure. You know, so um, and sometimes uh, it might, be as simple as looking at their past. You know, like sometimes the key could be just something that they had come up with, um, you know, young in life. You know, some random number that they might have latched onto and used. Hard to say. I'm not gonna say that I know everything about decryption or anything along those lines, but yeah. So All right. Okay, so while this might be good in the sense that, this shows like, how to add a tile, you know, add a tile, add an ingredient into recipes. Um, oh yeah, we did cover this portion because of the conditions. We covered this the other day. But even then, it was like, um, might be good overall in terms of, um, definitely useful if you're wanting to create yourself an item in Terraria, but not necessarily for my purpose, when trying to create a tech tree. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and right back out again. Let's see. I don't think we got to the tiles, but again, this might be something that we probably don't really need to worry too much about either. Um, Although this might be something that I might need to do as well because it still might be necessary for me to understand the importance of tiles because pretty much the entire game is going to be set with tiles. For example, let's go to the game itself, right? Um, so, if I go into the game, right? And I show like, hey, everything here is part of the tile set, right? Even even the map here is gonna have its own set of tiles associated with the screen. How it reacts, how it works, and so on and so forth, right? So it would probably not be in my best interest to outright um, ignore what could be um, what might be necessary for me, right? Because I'm going to need to understand how they put these screens together if I'm to make another user interface, right? So if I wanted to have a screen, very much like the map, to have, in a sense, a tech tree, much like how I'd normally see Civilization, then, like a Civilization tech tree with all the materials to make the resources all the way up to like the highest tier, then I'm going to need to be able to understand how they put the tiles, on the screen, how they use it, and so on and so forth. So let's go back to the, let's go back here and read up on this a little bit more. Now, um, now obviously the um, what they might want or what they might try to show might not be everything that I want to do, right? Um, as in, they're going to be talking about like, um, how they place, certain tiles together and certain, for items that you might see on screen, right? Um, that, you know, while I'm not going to be using it per se in terms of like a weapon that I'm going to be using, by the player right at that moment in time, I'm still going to need to put something together for, basically a button for the player to click on to open up said tech tree and then be able to show everything there. All the different materials, you know, um, I have to kind of create that user interface, which means I'm going to need to understand this, right? So let's get into this portion of the tutorial. So what is a tile? It is important to clearly understand tiles in your mind. Starting out, you might confuse or conflate tiles and items. Items are things in your inventory. Tiles are blocks in the world. Many items in the game place tiles, but aside from the item placing the tile and the tile returning the item, there is no enforced connection between an item and the tile it places. That said, most tile modders will have one or many corresponding items. We're not really that interested in making items, but more using items, if you that reference. So we're going to be showing the items, but we're not necessarily going to be using items, if you get what I mean by that. So, confusingly, tiles exist alongside walls and wires in the tile struct. Every tile coordinate in the game world corresponds to a tile struct. Main.tile contains all those tiles. Keep in mind, if you work with a tile struct directly, that they contain more than just the tile data. If you're curious about the tile struct itself, or need to directly work with it, please see tile class documentation. I might actually need to use that at some point. So we're going to go ahead and, bring up that particular link there. Okay. Tile item pairing. When an item will place a specific tile when item.createTile is set to the tile type of the mod tile. If a tile has multiple styles, setting item.placeStyle allows you to specify that style. See multiple styles for more details. The mod tile will return the mod item when mined as well. This process is automated, but can be customized for special tiles if needed. Modders can use mod tile register item drop to manually register drops for specific tiles. Mod tile.get item drops can be used for full control of the drops. tModLoader get item drop from type and style can be used to query the item drop from a tile type and tile style. Example trap.cs is an example of a tile that uses custom styles, so custom item drop code is used. Okay. Again, not so much something that I'm going to be worried about in this. Um, you know, like I'm not going to be needing to worry about, placing style or creating style or getting item drops or anything along those lines. I'm just going to be looking to just placing that particular item, you know, on the screen, and that's about it. I don't need to really worry about anything else. So, I'm not going to be like kind of stressing and going, how am I supposed to create this tile or anything along those lines? Don't need to worry about it. So not something that I'm really in desperate need to, to fully hold on to. This is obviously good for anybody that might be working towards like maybe making something that might you might want to use to like build up a structure or something like that. Like if you have a wand that can instantaneously build a house, boom, right? then yeah, you're probably going to be wanting, something that handles like, create tiles and place tiles and all that kind of jazz. But, for the most part, not something that I need to really worry about myself. So, hey there, Jake. Welcome back to the stream. How's your day been? So, basic tile placing item code. Items that place tiles are usually very simple. The following is about all that is needed. Adding a recipe that a typical additional section of code added to a tile placing item. So, public override set defaults. Item default to placeable tile, mod content, tile type, my mod, tiles, furniture, my table, and item value is equal to 150. So you're doing good. Awesome to hear. Awesome to hear, my friend. Okay, so making a tile. To add a tile to Terraria, you must first create a class that inherits from mod tile. To do so, make a .cs file in your mod's source directory. Mods, my mod name, and then open that file to your text editor. Paste the following into that file, replacing name here with the internal name of your tile, and mod namespace with your mod's folder name and namespace. A common mistake to use apostrophes or spaces in internal names. Don't do this. The computer won't understand. So, you're playing some Smash on your Wii? Nice. Playing online or just playing single player? Okay. So you got quite a bit. Um, you know, you're making a tile that it's solid. It can merge with dirt. And um, I guess has a be influenced by light. I guess it's lit up or something. I'm not quite sure exactly what each one of these are referring to per se. You know, like I haven't really looked at these particular functions or at this moment in time, so I don't really know. Well, in this particular case, um, you know, I don't know what these arrays are containing, but you have the dust type of being stone, and then you're adding the map with the color, so, and then of course other values and stuff like that. So, all right, I need to have a CS file. Bring in your texture file, a PNG file, image file that you've made, and put it into the folder with this .cs file. Make sure to read auto load so you know how to satisfy what the computer expects for its file name and folder structure. Um, Single player because the online function has been down for a decade. Oh, right, because of Wii. Right. Um, you just hacked your Wii today to play mods on it. Ah, okay. Um, hopefully, hopefully it holds up. you know, hopefully that did and doesn't eventually brick your Wii. That would suck. But enjoy, my friend. Enjoy. There are two different types of tiles. One type is the regular tiles that are one-to-one with one height of 1 and adjust themselves as you place similar tiles next to them. These will be referred to as framed tiles in this guide, but are also known as terrain tiles. The other type are the tiles that do not change automatically, which we will call frame important tiles. These tiles are usually larger than 1 by 1, so another name for them would be multi-tiles. Furniture tiles is also another name for these tiles. Okay. Um, I mean, multi-tiles makes sense. Why you would name them furniture, I don't really know because I'm sure that there's other things that you can consider as multi-tiles, but that are not furniture. So yeah, I'll stick with multi-tiles in this particular case. So it's a pretty trusted source, so I don't think it will. Ah, that's good. That's good. Are you asking me there, Goose? What was my very first video game? Oh, that would I mean, I'm already an old man anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter all that much. I'm making the assumption that you're asking me there, Goose. So, the very first game that I ever played was Pac-Man. Pac-Man was my very first game that I ever played because my cousin brought over console and put in Pac-Man, and I was hooked from then on out. I could not get enough of video games after that. So if I had, probably um, if I had my own computer, probably would have had more games on it than anything else. But you never know. I mean, um, you know, I had a slight, mindset of construction a little bit. Like I forget exactly when I started it. Um, like I think it was like late in my elementary school years, definitely junior high, when I started looking into creating my very own mazes. So I would just get some graph paper and I would just draw up a maze that I thought would be pretty hard. And it got to the point where I would use the entire sheet of paper of graph paper to make a maze. And at that point, you know, I got to the point of even, trying to use both sides of the graph paper. Um, I think I did uh, like one or two mazes that had what I called ladders down into other parts of the maze because I had learned about, how if you held your hand up against the left hand wall of any kind of maze, you would typically find your way out of a maze, right? Um, so I've thought of ways of how to try to beat that. And the best way that I knew how to go about doing that at the time was um, putting the person um, basically inside a circular loop. You know that if they tried to do a um, if they tried to put their hand up against the left side of the wall and tried to trace their way around the left-hand side, they basically go into a non-stop loop. So, I did play Tetris, but I was never a big fan of Tetris myself. Um, because I could never get the uh, trying to react quickly as the Tetris pieces kept on piling up over and over and over again. My brain couldn't handle um, eventually couldn't handle the speed, and and um, I tend to like games that have endings. So when you have a game that really had no ending to it, um, much like Tetris, I got to the point where I was like going, you know what, I'm not really enjoying this as much. It kind of got a little bit more frustrating for me than enjoyable, if you can understand that a bit. So, you know, um, I guess I was just kind of looking more for the end screen than anything else, but you know, I wasn't good enough on Tetris um, to be able, obviously, you know, people are starting to hit the end screen, you get so far in Tetris that you're now breaking the game nowadays, um, by players, but you know, um, when I played it, that wasn't a thing. So yeah, I kind of got more frustrated with Tetris than anything else personally, but that's me. So got a version of my calculator, and I've gotten pretty good at it. I mean, enjoy Tetris. You know, if you love it, keep on having it. Keep on playing it, my friend. I was just never one of my favorite games. Uh, you know, um, I think I got more frustrated than anything else. You know, like you know, kind of hoping for that, like, hey, you beat the game, like end screen that would never come. So, um, I guess that kind of goes with Pac-Man as well. You never had uh, you never really had an end screen on Pac-Man either. So, let's see. Here's an example of the spread of a frame important tile. So, not all 1 by 1 tiles are frame tiles. Here's an example of a 1 by 1 frame important tile. If you recall, this metal bars tile doesn't change when placed next to other tiles, like frame tiles do. Okay. I'm basically just trying to get a new personal best every time I play. That's perfectly fine. As you might have noticed, frame important tiles can have multiple unique tile styles. You might have also noticed some empty space in the spreadsheets. This is padding. These concepts will be explored later. Uh, Tile coordinates are 1 by 16th in the size of world coordinates. Remember this if you ever need to do anything involving tiles and anything else, such as NPC, player, or projectile. See the coordinates wiki page to learn more. Again, I don't know if I really need to use this per se. Um, I'm not sure if user interfaces really uses this. Um, I'll have to wait and see. You know, I'm hoping that if if I get to like the section concerning user interfaces, if they do reference other web pages, I hope that they also have links necessary for that. But for right now, we'll just kind of leave that one alone because, we're not dealing with NPCs or players or projectiles or anything along those lines, something that involves, you know, typically world coordinates. But then again, don't really know. It might, we might need to do that. So, when making a sprite, it is important to know proper dimensions. For the most part, every individual tile will be a 16 by 16 pixels with 2 pixels of padding to the right and below each for a total of 18 by 18. If you need help padding a sprite, you can use an external tool called tSpritePadder. Probably, again, don't really need to worry too much about this, but you never know. Now that we've gone through most preliminary info, let's focus on set static defaults and what to put in it. This section will explain most of the common items in set static defaults. The documentation further expands on these settings as well as many other more specialized settings not covered in this guide. The point of set static defaults is to define how the tile acts, such as is it solid, can things stand on it, and does lava kill it. Consulting similar tiles that you wish to emulate in example mod is probably better than trying to do this from scratch. Many of the lines below are set something to true. This means the default value is false. Don't bother including lines setting the value to the default. It just clutters your code. So, again, don't really need to worry too much about this. Set static defaults. Don't really need to worry about that. Not the purpose of what I'm going to be looking for. So, it is useful to reference mod tile classes from example mod to use as a guide when creating your own mod tile, especially when learning. Find the mod tile that is closest to what you need and copy the set static defaults code and then modify it if needed. For this guide, many GIFs will refer to the tile sprite. Okay. Min pick controls the minimum pickaxe power that a pickaxe needs to break a tile. For example, setting min pick to 50 for a tile will mean a pickaxe needs a pickaxe power higher than 50% to break it. Min pick defaults to 0, so any pickaxe can break the tile. Very few vanilla tiles use min pick. It is often set for progression reasons. For example, Lizard Brick has a min pick of 210 to stop people breaking into the jungle temple early. For the vanilla pickaxe power, see the vanilla wiki pickaxe power, pickaxes, drills, all of which I do not need to worry about. So this is, again, something that is nothing needed for me. Mine resist controls how hard the tile is to mine by making it have more hit points, which normally would be 100 hit points. Mine resist is a multiplier, so a mine resist of 2F will double the hit points of a tile to 200, and a mine resist of 0.5F will half it to 50. Mine resist defaults to 1F, so the hit points of your tiles stay at 100. Mine resist is often set on tiles that also set a min pick value. Vanilla mine resist values, see the table below or the vanilla wiki. So default, dirt, spikes, ebonstone, cobalt, mithril, tombstone, adamite, lizard, chlorophyte. I'm not really seeing anything in terms of, you know, um, I'm not really seeing anything about whether or not, what you can set for if um, a tile is just not breakable. I mean, you can probably try to, increase the mine resist to like, 9,999 multiplier, I guess, if you really want to, make it almost impossible to break. but it will eventually break, because you're basically knocking off hit points here. Um, so I'm not really seeing anything here about whether or not you can turn that on or off. Like it will never, if you can set up a tile to basically be indestructible, you know, is there a way to set something up like that? So far we're not really seeing anything yet on that, but they might not have got into it yet, so we'll see. Main tile type is equal to true. Setting this to true means the tile will be solid. Projectiles will collide with it, and NPC and players can stand on it. All right. Um, Tile solid top is equal to true. Many tiles, such as placed bars, tables, anvils, can be stood on but aren't solid. These tiles all set this value is equal to true. Okay, so you can basically set it so that you can, you know, stand on top of it, but you can kind of walk through it. Interesting. Now, what they're not really showing in this particular graphic is, whether or not you can actually like jump into like the 4, 5, and 6, or 7, 8, and 9, and also have that have the same kind of um, you know same kind of effect. But whatever. Main tile table type is equal to true. Some tiles, such as bottles, can only be placed on tables. Be sure to set this for flat top furniture tiles. Okay. I like how there's a slime that pops up like right there. Okay, so if you have it off, then it can only be placed on tables. If you have it true, then it can basically be placed anywhere. Gotcha. Again, nothing really that necessary for me to worry about, concerning what I want to do. So that's not really something that is of major importance for me. Tile merge dirt type is equal to true. This tile will merge with dirt using the extra price provided in the spreadsheet. So, you place them down, and you know they might merge in certain fashion um, to kind of look at it as in a certain way. So, slime photobombing, indeed, slime is indeed photobombing on that one. So, um, tile spelunker is equal to true. Tile shine. They're not really explaining these at all here, but that's kind of unfortunate. But whatever. Tile valley type is equal to true. These are related to metal detector and ore shining. Uh-huh. Tile block light type is equal to true. If set to true, light is blocked by this tile, and the light will decrease as it passes through. Um, so if it's false, then light can kind of pass through, without too much difficulty. If it's if it's true, then it basically gets blocked off. So the light doesn't pass through it as much, which is good. I like the fact that I like that distinction there. So main tile lighted type is equal to true. If true, then tile produces light. If you can set the light color for tile using the modified light hook. Okay. Um, tile death type is equal to true. Set to true if you'd like your tile to die if hit by lava. Interesting. Okay. Now, here's the thing that's a slightly, um, a bit slightly problematic. Because, like, he has, 1 through 9 here, right? And when he throws down the lava, you would think that it would just kind of break through 1, 4, 7, then like 8 and 9, but it breaks the entire thing there. It breaks 1 through 9. So, the 1 through 9 is a full um, tile set, I guess you might say. Um, so kind of interesting about that. So, tile water death. Set to true if you'd like your tile to die if hit by water. Okay, same as the lava, just with water. Gotcha. Tile no attach. Prevents tiles from attaching to this tile. Okay. So if false, then you can um, you can add additional tiles um, to this to the set. For true, it will not work. It will not allow for anything to touch it. Gotcha. Again, not really that useful for me in terms of the tech tree, so we're just going to have to kind of leave it at that. Cut cut type. Tile can be destroyed by weapons. Okay, so if you set this to false and well, does weapons also count for the pickaxe? Is it the same? Or will it be under the, you know, um, will it be kind of something else? Now, obviously, if you don't want it to be destroyed by weapons, you just set it to false, and it obviously can't be destroyed by anything concerning the sword or sword or like bow and arrow or magic or anything along those lines. I'm pretty sure. But I mean, does that apply to a pickaxe or an axe or something along those lines? Not sure. Um, is a tile just an object or a block? Well, in this particular case, there, Jake, it's both. Um, because you, um, when you place a dirt block down, it's still considered like a tile, but you can then pickaxe, that particular tile, and you're basically walking around with it as like an object in your hand. Um, so question. I guess the question would be more, I guess, what they call like the frame important tile. And I guess like dirt would probably be um, hmm. Well, I mean, dirt itself probably wouldn't fall into the frame important tile, but more of the frame tile. So, So yeah. Let's see. And these are more rarely used, but won't be explained in this guide. See the documentation or vanilla source code if you need hints with these. Okay, there's a lot there, which I will not need to worry about. I'm not going to bother with that. So this indicates tile frame important type is equal to true. This indicates that the tile is a frame important tile. The frame important part of the name suggests that the frame is important. But what is frame? Frame is the coordinates within the spreadsheet that the current tile should draw. For frame tiles, the frame is never saved since the coordinate frame of the frame tile is calculated when the world is loaded. For frame important tiles, the world needs to save those coordinates, hence important. For modders, just remember to set this to true when you make a tile that uses a tile object data. Or basically all tiles that aren't like dirt, ores, or other basic building tiles. See tile object data below for details. Okay, we're getting close to the the end of the hour here, and we still got a lot more to go on this. But at the same time, again, I don't know. There's parts of this that I'm like on. I don't really need this, right? You know, there's parts of this where I like, I don't need to worry about this. This isn't necessarily, very useful. But at the same time, like I might need to do, to understand draw flip horizontal, draw flip vertical, potentially, that kind of thing. So, so there's going to be more here. Um, so I think I'm going to go ahead and pause it here for now because we still got a lot more to go through. I'm going to go ahead and make a note of where I'm leaving off for maybe not tomorrow. I don't know if I really want to do any coding tomorrow. It is my birthday anyway. I want to have some fun. So, um, play some games. But let's go ahead and look into. Um, we're gonna save it here. I'm just gonna highlight this and just kind of give myself a little bit of a note that I left off. Terraria Mod Coding. Just kind of put that there so I know where I left off at, and then we'll kind of continue from here. This is a really large topic. Um, and while there might be some parts of it that I don't really, um, I might not necessarily um need for um, the tech tree. I think we'll just kind of leave it at that for right now. There might still be some parts of this particular page that I still might need to use. So, um, because for example, um, like if I'm gonna use, um, if I might need to draw the objects in the tech tree, for example, then I might need to know how to go about putting them in the tech tree properly so that they're lining up and stuff like that. So that's all. So um, so yeah, we'll save that for tomorrow. But that's going to be it for tonight concerning our Terraria modding. Happy early birthday in case I don't make it for tomorrow's stream. No worries there, Drake. Thank you for the early birthday wishes. Appreciate it. And I want to thank Goose for stopping on by and chatting more with me during this session as well. Um, Hopefully I didn't scare you off by the answering of what my first video game was all about. um, but we're going to go ahead and switch on over to the Talos principle now. So for those of you that are watching on stream, don't go anywhere. We're going to be switching on over to that game here in just a few minutes. For those of you watching this later on YouTube, um, you can check out that playlist. I'll put it up as soon as I throw the videos up on YouTube and start prepping all that. um, but that playlist will be available. You can also check out all the other playlists that I have available. A like and subscribe on this video would be nice as well if you're willing. Check out the description for multiple links: Discord, Patreon, Throne. Got the stream team down below as well for um, for anybody that if you're a streamer or maybe not a streamer, you're welcome to join the team and help everybody out. And the team is meant for everybody to help each other out. So that's the idea behind it. Um, so check that out if you want. The application page is down below, so fill that out and send it in. But that is going to be it for this session of the Terraria modding. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll catch you next time. But until then, take care, have a good night, stay healthy, stay safe. I'll catch you next time. And stop recording.